All right, so it looks like Brendan Schaub has fired his handler. If you remember this guy, Mark, he actually had his own podcast on the Thick Boy YouTube channel called Haters Will Say. And now it looks like he's turning into a hater because he's been taking some shots at Brendan on Instagram because he's obviously not too happy about being fired. And Brendan hasn't even acknowledged that he's left yet. So somebody asked him, did they make an announcement on the fighter and the kid? I missed it. You have some great insight opposed to just reading an article. And Brendan's former handler responded and said, no, I guess I'm not worthy of an explanation. And then another person said, what happened to you on the fighter and the kid? I was hoping you would replace Schaub whenever his liver inevitably failed. And then he laughed at that. Then also somebody said, seems like he got gadouche. He said, some would say the gadouchiest. So he's clearly not too happy with Brendan. I mean, he's mocking him there and he's laughing at the fact that Brendan drinks a lot, which is hilarious because before he got fired, this guy would spend all day defending Brendan on social media. Like he was always responding to comments. I think he was even on Reddit a few times responding to people. I think I saw him in my comment section a few times. And then also he had attacked Kalila a lot, which was pretty funny. And one time he even attacked Theo. I think Theo called him Protein Pony. And then he like ranted about it on Instagram and was like, come say that to my face. So this guy definitely had some good moments. But he was a bit of a loose cannon. I mean, going after Theo while he was still doing the King and the Sting, that probably wasn't the best move. And then also during all the Bobby Lee and Kalila drama, he would spend a lot of time going after her, which only made things worse. I think Brendan had to tell him to stop after a while.
I'm starting to see screenshots on Instagram of DMs of your cute little friend Mark confirming that you wanted to expose me. Is that correct?
I didn't see them.
I know, but I talked to you about Mark and you confirmed it with him.
Well, no, I went to Mark and said, dude, you're making things way worse for me.
Okay.
Because he's trying to defend me. I went, you're not defending me. You're making it worse, giving her fuel, and me and her are talking. You don't need to do this.
But Mark didn't stop there. I think it was like 3 or 4 months ago. He linked some video to his Instagram, like some documentary exposing Kalila. And I'm sure Brendan wasn't too happy about that because at this point it seems like he just wants nothing to do with her. Like he does not want any drama involving her again. But now that Mark's not with Brendan, maybe he'll continue to go after her because now nobody's holding him back. And maybe he'll go after Brendan. You know, he could make a turnaround here. People might start liking him if that's what he does. And I also always thought that this guy might have been part of Brendan's team that found the 300 pages of evidence. Or maybe he was the team. I wouldn't be surprised by that. So maybe Brendan just didn't like how he handled that situation because obviously it was handled like the worst way possible. So maybe that's another reason why he fired him. But also his podcast was not getting any views. And at this point, Brendan needs somebody to really take over his channel. Like he cannot be just paying some guy to get 10,000 views a podcast. And I always wondered how this guy had his own podcast on there because there's no way he was making any money. Like it probably just costs more money for them to produce the podcast and they wouldn't even make the money back. So the guy was just losing them money. Even though at this point, I guess most of what Brendan does probably loses him money. Like the guy has a lot of expenses for his channel. You know, he's got a pretty big space that he rents out or owns, and he's got a pretty well produced podcast, and he's got a producer and employees. So he's got a lot of money he's got to shell out each month, and I can't imagine he's bringing that much in. I think I've said this before, but he's pretty much in the same boat as Def Noodles now. Like Def Noodles rented out a decent sized space in LA, and then he upgraded all his production and he hired employees, and then his channel just tanked, and now he gets like a couple thousand views. I think it's actually sad at this point. He had to have lost so much money on all that, and people don't even talk about him anymore. Like at least people were making a lot of videos on him back in the day. Now he's not even relevant enough to hate on. Like it's just sad. Like at least Brendan's doing better than that. Like if he's ever feeling bad about his channel, just look at Def Noodles. You're doing a lot better than him, and at least Brendan's relevant enough for people to hate on him. Like that subreddit, the Fight of the Kid subreddit, almost has 110,000 people now. That's crazy. That's a lot. I mean, that's almost reaches YouTuber subscriber count. If they ever pass that, or when they pass that, you know, it's going to happen eventually. They're probably going to celebrate like crazy. Also, I wonder, you know, for the Fight of the Kid people, you know, I'm sure a lot of my fans go on that subreddit. If Brendan like just wrapped it all up and he's like, all right, I'm done. I'm sick of doing the podcast. I'm done with social media. Would that be a win, or would people be disappointed in that? Let me know down in the comments. And then that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the like button. Go check out the Patreon if you want some bonus content. I posted a Joey Diaz video on there the other day, and then I'll probably upload another video this weekend or sometime next week. I know Adam22 is going through a lot of drama, so maybe I'll talk about him. And yeah, check that out. And then hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you at the next video.